Chapter 4 has just released, and oh my, there is so much context and substance in this chapter that I have a lot of theories and videos to make in the next few days. But this chapter in particular has given us so much extra information and interesting reveals about nearly every character in Poppy Playtime. But I want to talk about in this video one of the biggest moments in Chapter 4, and of course, spoilers ahead, if you haven't finished Chapter 4, I'm talking about Huggy's return. Now, I theorized a while back that Huggy would be making a return, and I mentioned that the prototype would have something to do with that, but oh my, I wasn't ready for this. Hello everyone, my name is It's Just Jord, and today we're going to be talking about Huggy's return in Chapter 4, and if you enjoy content like this, and of course theories on Poppy Playtime, make sure you hit subscribe. I've got so many planned that will be coming out in the next few days, and of course lots more to cover after that even so. But if you subscribe, it will help the channel and myself, and of course you'll get to be notified when I upload a brand new theory. But anyway, shameless self-promotion out of the way, let's get into this video. Oh, and like I mentioned earlier, there are going to be spoilers in this video, so you've been warned. So if you need a quick refresher and or you haven't played it quite yet, at the end of Chapter 4, after defeating Doughy, we gain access to the secret lab hidden below Playtime Co. After we walk for a little while through the caves, a set of metal gates open up to us. Inside we see rows and rows of the poppies being grown, with a large focus on artificial lights, and of course this is what the panels are beside the flower beds. Around the flowers we can actually see butterflies circling around the petals. Something interesting to note is that this is not normal behavior for the butterflies. If anything, butterflies don't particularly care for poppies, as they don't really produce any nectar, but poppies do produce pollen. Now, whether this is just a decorative asset or it actually holds meaning, I'll leave it up to you. But me and my theorist mind, I took it as an interesting detail that was intentional. And I want to highlight it because actually the type of butterfly used here and how it's almost suggested, it's a similar scenario to Van Gogh's Poppies and Butterflies painting. Because of this, and if it is true, there are some interesting connections in the meaning behind it. Like the Van Gogh painting is supposed to represent peace and perfect spaces, harmony if you will, nature's perfect place. Not to mention, around the time that that painting was made, Van Gogh was going through some terrible mental health struggles, and at the time he had turned to help from doctors. And of course, take that as you will, but I believe there's a bit of a connection there. And of course, as we know from the chapter, the doctor plays an important role with the player. Anyway, enough of butterflies for a moment. After we continue walking down the platform and seeing rows and rows of the poppies, we come to the door, which is locked and can only be unlocked with the Omni Hand. After unlocking the door, we get into the entrance of the lab itself, but the player has no obvious route here. All the player can do is take in the scenery and play the secret tape. The tape is left, of course, on the counter and, as I mentioned, titled Top Secret, and is described as something is off. Upon playing the tape, we hear from Le Pierre, telling us that we must be very lost and giving us a set of false hope and charm that we can return, but he cuts that act fast. Very different to the first VHS tape where we heard him initially. He then proceeds to tell us that we've set off an alarm and that whoever is down here knows where we are right now and that we should probably be starting to run. Then we get the big reveal of Huggy presenting himself, but first we are misdirected to thinking it's Kissy, and this is intentional. We know this because the lighting is purposely aimed and changed in that scene to make Huggy look more purple, and of course with the fur being practically the same sort of texture, just a different colour, it's an easy effect to pull off. But when he comes closer, we see his true colours. Then we hear the brilliant sound bite or the sound effect from Huggy's attack, and safe to say he's madder than ever. And of course that leads us on to the question, how did Huggy survive the fall in Chapter 1? But before that, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit subscribe as it helps the channel and helps myself, and you'll be notified of the next Poppy Playtime theory. Anyway, back to the video. Well, he didn't make it out unscathed, that's for sure. No, Huggy seems to have had similar fixes as to the ones we saw on Kissy. We can see this because, of course, maneuvering the camera around the level gets to show us a few extra details and fixes that Huggy has had. The big ones being the condition of his stomach. The stomach looks like it's been stitched with rope and something much stronger than string. It's almost as if someone has wrapped all of Huggy's inside and tied it tight and stuffed it back into him. Again, with our understanding of how the toys work, and it seems like they only need the basic organs and the basic functionality of those organs for the bodies to continue working. Perhaps this is some makeshift fix so that Huggy can return and ultimately kill the player. As well as the stomach, we can see more evidence of Huggy's brutal fixes. We can see his head has a gash from where he hit his head in chapter 1. This looks like it's revealed some type of membrane. This is most likely what's left of protecting his brain or skull. Aside from that, we can see that he has a lot of duct tape that's been used to fix part of his body together, and yeah, it's a lot of duct tape. Something else that's interesting is the interior of the body. From what I can see, it almost looks like it's all wrapped up in stuffing that you would see inside the toys originally, and you can see the blood oozing out from within that stuffing. My theory is that Huggy did fall to his death, or he was very close to the brink of death. He could have been in a coma and unconscious on the floor, and I believe that the prototype had seen Huggy's fall or was aware of the situation that Huggy faced. The prototype, of course, has the ability and the knowledge on how to fix the toys and on how to adapt them. Come to think of it, it really plays well in the whole god complex that the prototype has down there, because he can give life or take it. A good way to see this in action is with what happened in contrast to Mommy Longlegs. Mommy Longlegs was harvested for parts by the prototype, and in contrast, Huggy was saved because he could be useful. Of course, we know that the prototype will do anything to get Poppy back, but also he will do anything to stop us too. And having Huggy in his back pocket is useful for him for security and for force when it's needed. And from what I've seen in chapter 4, the prototype is one of the biggest creatures that we might face, but he's not particularly the fastest. He's possibly not even that mobile, and this is possibly where Huggy will be able to play his part in the prototype's game. Of course, the prototype has all the knowledge and the sense, but he lacks the speed and power. That's where Huggy fills in. Interestingly, I think this is all going to go down in the end with Kissy and Huggy fighting each other in front of the player, and Kissy protecting us from her other half. And I think that would be a very poetic way to close the Kissy and Huggy story. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. If you think this theory is too far-fetched, or if you have a different idea, do let me know. Or if there's a topic you would like me to cover, let me know as well also, because I will, of course, cover them. And again, I've got many videos coming on Poppy Playtime, and of course, the chapter, and all the characters that we've seen inside of the chapter, and the previous ones that we've now got more information on. So again, if that's something that you would like to know or watch or see in the future, make sure you hit subscribe, because of course, I'm going to be just releasing them like mad soon. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and of course, have a lovely morning, day or night wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next Poppy Playtime theory video.